And Paul said, let God be true. Even if every rationalist, empiricist, and mystic on the planet voted otherwise, they are liars. Now, of course, Paul would not have won the positive thinking award. He would not be politically correct. He called them liars. Well, the Bible has an awful lot to say about lying. He that denies that Jesus is the Christ is a liar. He who says, I know him, and yet does not keep the commandments is a what? Liar. See, we've dropped that word from Christian vocabulary because it's not nice. It's about time we go back to the Bible, people. All liars have their place in hell. Trouble is, we got too many of them in the church today. We need to kick their tails out. Because they ain't going where we're going. Then what are they doing here with us? So you must understand, when Paul said, let God be true, even if this means every human being is a liar, he meant defend God at all costs when it comes to predestination, election. I don't care what the issue is, let God have the preeminence. Let God be number one. Let God be God. I spoke at Messiah College, which is now mostly liberal, and I spoke to the whole student and faculty, and they had a big medallion on the pulpit that said that in Christ he might have the preeminence in all things. Now that's a wonderful verse. This was a school, a college that had been built by hard-working brethren in Christ. The little people they look like Amish with little caps and stuff. But the liberals grabbed hold of this place. So I knew I only had one shot. And probably I would only get one chance, so I decided I'd come in with all 6 shooters. And I announced my message. I'm preaching on the medallion. And everyone looked. Christ must have the preeminence over all things. Christ must have the preeminence over psychology, not Freud. Christ must have the preeminence over evolution and biology, not Darwin. Christ must have the preeminence over philosophy. And I started preaching how Christ must be the Lord of every academic department in this college. Some faculty got up and marched out in protest, and just when I banged it, Christ, the medallion fell off. It was down on the ground. And I said, could it be God is trying to indicate to you where the preeminence of Christ has gone in this school? How many of you think I got invited back? No. Defend God at all costs. It's like when someone asks me, Dr. Bob, do you believe in free will? Yes, God has a free will, and he can do with you what he wants. No, I mean man. I said, no, wait a second. In the beginning, what? So whose free will should we first discuss? I had one Arminian theologian said, oh, that's a trap. I said, how? Well, if you get me to discuss God having a free will, it'll end up that we don't have one. I said, then you've got to choose. Who do you want to have the free will? Our good and great and glorious God, or sinful, rebellious, depraved, wicked man, in whose, and man has the whole world in his hand. He got the, who would you like the world to be in it? God. Defend God. Start with God. But you see, we have the humanist answer we saw last week, the Hindu answer, the agnostic answer, the emotional answer, the wider hope answer. Well, what does the Bible say? If you really don't know the Lord, and you're dealing with the issue of where you're going to spend eternity, and you are told praying a little prayer ain't going to do it. Pray a little prayer for Jesus. Running down an aisle ain't going to do it. You must have true conversion where God takes out the stony heart God puts in a heart of flesh. He regenerates you. He gives you a new heart. He does surgery. He's not giving you Band-Aid. See churches filled with people with some Band-Aid. So you got baptized. That's a Band-Aid. You're a deacon. So that's a good Band-Aid. But the issue of the heathen, let me tell you right now, will flush the chicken right out of the bushel. You'll know, because you will have those who will say, this is too hard. Look at verse 60. What did they say? Many of his disciples, when they heard this, said what? This is a difficult or too hard. Who can bear it? We want something that exalts man. That's why the churches are being filled where man is exalted and God is dethroned. Now, this is the issue. We'll find out where you are tonight.